From the high desert southwest and an indiscreet shave den located in the deep recesses of Ouch's basement, broadcasting north from McMurdo Sound to Ice Station Zebra and east and west across all time zones to our members throughout the world, this is Badger and Blade Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be on this big blue cloudy marble we call home, and welcome to the August 7th edition of Badger and Blade Radio. On deck for this show, a member spotlight interview with TankerJohn, news and events around BadgerandBlade.com, our mail call segment, including our poll, tallow versus vegan soaps, more on the Sumo Memorial Auction that will be coming up in October, as well as when our Shave Roundtable special will air. All this and a bunch much more after these messages. B&B listeners, make sure over the next weeks and months you keep an eye out for a special contest for B&B radio listeners to win some great Captain's Choice products. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Aye, mateys, ha ha ha, Captain No-Beard here. You know, managing a pirate ship can be stressful and it can be hard to find time for myself, except for my daily morning shave. To give myself that wonderful shave experience, I use Captain's Choice products. The quality of the soaps, creams, and aftershaves and balms are top-notch for my daily parley with my face. Plus, they have wonderful accessories including lather bowls, one-of-a-kind soap lockers, and brushes. My favorite is the cat o' nine tails. Oh, what a burn. But all the products are treasures. So nice are my morning shaves
that it transforms me into a true gentleman for a time before having to become a pirate again.
So, if you are looking for the best in shave products, look no further. Anchor up and get your treasure at CaptainsChoiceStore.com. Yo ho, it's Captain's Choice for me.
Captain's Choice products, www.CaptainsChoiceStore.com. Welcome back to B&B Radio, everybody. We certainly want to thank you for spending part of your day with us. And just a quick reminder that Badger and Blade Radio airs every 2 weeks at www.badgerandblade.com. We also have it across all of our formats, including our YouTube page, our video library forum, and via podcast. So whichever way you'd like to listen to us, we have you covered. We'd also like to thank Scott from Captain's Choice Products for the upcoming Badger and Blade Radio listener contests, so please keep an eye out for that. And we'd also like to thank Captain's Choice for being a supportive vendor here at BadgerandBlade.com. And now for some news and events. From the Great Southern Land, there is a battle royale of gratuitous lather shots going on in the Great Southern Land Forum, so please make sure you check that out. Also, keep an eye out for your very own pass-around box, which should be coming out in the next month or so. Now, from the mind of our moderator Ford Father, he has been tinkering again. He once created a human mind control device that made the wearer ask stupid questions. Well, he is still in research right now on how to remove it from his children. Dane, we wish you the best of luck. Over in the Clubhouse Forum, Dave has started a fitness challenge. With the holidays coming up, battle the bulge now, so make sure you check out that thread over in the Clubhouse and get involved. There's always some type of activity going on over in the dark room, whether it be a contest, bird shots, or just photography in general. So make sure you contact Lane for more info on when those contests will start so you can get involved as well. Make sure to check out all the other forums for the August events and happenings, and please don't hesitate to contact that forum steward or any steward to fill you in on what's going on in the favorite forums here at BadgerandBlade.com. Now, coming up in September, the official Badger and Blade bingo game will be back. And yes, it will be in the video library. Who could that be that will be the bingo caller? Yes, it's me, and we're going to go old school. This will be unlike any other B&B bingo game you've played in the past, so sharpen up those pitchforks as it will be a blast. Did you know that Bull Goose Shaving is now offering Murgress brushes and the Broad's Knob Murgress razor? So check this out. Since 2009, Bull Goose Shaving Supplies has been providing the best in shaving products to the discerning traditional shaver, carrying shave soaps, creams, aftershaves, fragrances, razors, and accessories from many of the top manufacturers, as well as unique and artisan shave products from around the world. Bull Goose Shaving Supplies also carries its very own product of shave soaps, custom brushes, and razors under the Asylum Shaveworks brand, including the one-of-a-kind Asylum RX single-edge razor, the Asylum Evolution, an homage to the 1930s Darwin, and coming soon to Bull Goose, the Paradigm Titanium double-edge razor. Bull Goose Shaving Supplies is your one-stop shop for bath and shower, as well as all personal grooming accessories. Looking for that special gift or storage solution? We have that too. With lightning-quick order fulfillment, wonderful customer service, and an easy-to-navigate website, you can get everything you need at Bull Goose Shaving Supplies. www.bullgooseshaving.com. That's www.bullgooseshaving.com. Welcome back to Badger and Blade Radio, and we're very happy to have a very special member spotlight interview. But before we get started, I want to read you something that really kind of gives the idea of what the epitome of a Badger and Blade member goes through. So here's my deal. I got into this wet shaving thing and started loving my BBS face, and then I'm thinking, man, my hair sucks. So I learn about real barbers and real hair products from guys like Marco. Then the next thing I know, I look in the mirror, and from the neck up, I'm killing it, but I still look like a slob. So I'm thinking, man, I can do better than Life is Good t-shirts and cargo shorts. So now I'm all into menswear and dressing nicer in public. It's all these branches that I fall deeper down the B&B rabbit hole. But also maybe there's a link between the classics and the classic way of shaving and other classic things like menswear. That it just feels natural and right. Anyway, as my badge shows, I'm active duty military, so I don't get much choice in how I dress for work. But for everything else, I'm looking to up my game. Now, when I go through and I peruse the forums to search for interviews and for content, I'm looking at things like this. And our member spotlight interview is with John. He's known as TankerJohn. Welcome to the show, John, and we appreciate it. And that what you stated in that haberdashery thread is exactly what I think most B&B members go through. And I know that you and I joined around 2014. So what is it that brought you to Badger and Blade? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Dave. Thanks. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm John. I'm active duty Army. That's where I get the tanker part from. I used to be a cool guy and command a tank. Now I just command a desk at the Pentagon or in other big buildings around D.C. But so Badger and Blade. I think, and again, thanks for reading that thread I put together. I do hope it kind of struck a chord with other people. In fact, I know it does because I'm just like a bunch of the other people on the forum. So I, back in the day, I was shaving with the cartridge, right, like everybody else, or like most everybody else, and you get tired of paying the $45 or whatever it is for the for the packet of Gillettes. I forget what I had. It was like a Fusion or something like that, and for one, you ever see like a bumper sticker and you never seen it before, and then once you see that bumper sticker, you start seeing it everywhere?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of how I guess double-edged razors were for me, right? I never even thought about double-edged razors. I kind of vaguely knew of their existence from old movies and stuff,
Sure.
But it wasn't even part of my paradigm until right about the same time I read something on the internet, and it was talking about old razors, and I think I read that article about Shave Like Your Grandpa, and right about that time I saw who's the guy on TV, the American Picker guy on TV. He had his micro touch one.
Oh yeah.
So all this stuff I just started seeing everywhere, and I was like, oh wow, yeah. There's other ways to do this besides just using the Gillette thing from the grocery store. And then of course you Google a little bit, and if you Google anything related to traditional shaving, it's gonna Badger and Blade's gonna be right up at the top. And So I get into the forum, and just everybody's awesome on this forum, and everybody knows what they're talking about, and I just got tons of information about the different razors and different brushes and different soaps and creams and everything. That's kind of how I got into Badger and Blade, and then I end up ordering. I finally take the plunge with a Merkur 34C. I think like a lot of people,
sure,
a lot of people's first razor, and I got some of that Perazzo soap. I hope I'm saying that right, but
Yep.
Peraza soap from the mall. The Bath and it was Bath and Body Works
Yep,
that sells
yep.
the knockoff stuff.
Yeah, the
that's what I
CO.
saw.
Yeah, the
So,
CO Bigelow. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you start with that, and it took a couple times, and then you just kind of go from there. So the other thing I really liked about it, though, is I kind of alluded to in that post, I really feel in touch with classic things, traditional things. I like steel bicycles, for instance. I like, one of my other hobbies is traditional archery. I like wood and leather and steel, and just sort of I don't know. I just part of my personality. So I start wet shaving. And I'm going to use that term advisedly, but I mean traditionally.
Sure.
And it just sort of felt right to me, and so that's kind of how I got started. And then of course Badger and Blade, and you jump into it because once you get excited about it, you want to share it with other people.
It's an endless pit. It is a pit of acquisition disorders.
Yes, an enabler, as you say, right?
Well, and and if you haven't seen it yet, of course we have to give a plug to the Central Enablement Center over in the Clubs and Brotherhoods. You got to take it out, take a check out over there. But it's amazing, and I can't. And John, I apologize, but I am a World War II buff. Both, from the Air Force, because I was obviously in the Air Force, and for other things. But all I can think of right now talking to you, and I apologize, is all I can think of is Donald Sutherland.
Yes.
And all I can think of is Kelly's Heroes, Oddball. And when you said you're a tank commander, and I think that's so cool because, I mean, when that comes up in conversation, I mean, I can just imagine people, you say, well, yeah, I used to command a tank. And I would imagine for the first 2 or 3 seconds, there's that deer in the headlights look because people are trying to figure, okay, how do I turn this into a regular conversation?
Deep down inside, every tanker wants to be like Oddball.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, it's just so cool.
One or the other, but yeah.
Right. Well, and I would imagine that, and I've got to ask this, even though this is a little bit off subject, was Fury? I'm sure you saw the movie Fury. Was the realism there? Even though I know that you were in the modern stages of tanks, but was the realism there as far as how the crew meshed and stuff like that? Because obviously some people may not know that you've got a full crew that's inside the tank. I mean, do you find that movie kind of showed the real way that it actually was?
I think it is, having not been in World War II, but I've read quite a bit about it. And I think that's probably about as realistic a representation of tank warfare as I've seen on screen. Trying to think, there's really not too many other movies.
No, there isn't.
That show a tank crew in that way, but I thought it would. I think you're right. I think it was really good. Well,
and I would imagine in the modern, in the modern tanks, the Abrams and stuff like that, I would imagine the technology is so advanced now. It's like sitting inside of a computer mainframe.
It's you know what though? It's funny because there is obviously they are very computerized now, but they still leak oil, they still leak hydraulic fluid. If you break track, you still got to send someone out to bust the bolts on them.
Sure.
That's still a very mechanical thing, and they still get hot, and they still get full of cordite and smoke.
Sure.
And so I think there's that visceral element that is still absolutely part of that experience of being inside that metal machine, So
well, it's funny you mention that because all I could think of, and I apologize to our Harley Davidson brothers out there, but to me, with what you were saying, it sounds like basically an armored Harley Davidson with the leaking and everything. But no, I'm joking, of course.
Well, you know what though? It's funny because the M1 Abrams, the steering is actually like a motorcycle handlebar.
Oh, is it really?
So and I used to ride a Harley. I don't anymore, but
sure.
but also the other thing that's very similar about it is when you're up in the tank, in the hatch as a commander, and you're rolling down the road at 40 miles an hour, and you get that wind in the face.
Yeah.
It is a lot like being on a giant motorcycle. So
That's
your
funny.
analogy is extremely apt there.
That's funny. That is so funny. But yeah, it's something that's always fascinated me because I came at it from the other end. Of course, we've got the A10 Warthog, which is designed to do the one thing that you're designed to do. You're designed to destroy that, and the A10's designed to destroy you guys. Not obviously U.S.
The A10s are awesome. That's an awesome airplane.
Exactly.
The Air Force Force never gets rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially being down here in Tucson with Davis Monthan Air Force Base, it's the fighter weapons school for the A-10, and we're always worried that they're going to get rid of it. But it looks like they have extended. They're doing some retrofits to it. So because at first they thought the F-35 was going to be the replacement of it, and then they found out that the F-30, or actually not the F-35, the Joint Strike Fighter was supposed to be the fix for it, but they can't get the thing to work. So,
Right.
but anyhow, we could talk military stuff all day long. So, with you being in shaving, do you have a favorite shaving system? And what I mean by that is a favorite type of soap, a favorite razor, favorite brush, stuff like that.
I guess so. Favorite system. I don't know about system per se. I do well right now. I favor double-edged razors. I'm kind of straight razor curious. But that's like beyond hobby, right? That's like a lifestyle. Maybe one day. I'm just not there yet. For some reason, single-edge razors just haven't appealed to me. I don't know why, but I know guys swear by them, and I'm sure they're awesome. I just haven't gone down that road yet. But
sure.
So I like my double-edged razors. I generally go 2 passes. I used to do 3. I figured I can get as close as I want with 2. So just I go with the grade, and then I go against the grade, and that's another thing I learned on B&B about mapping your face. So I know my down on my neck, my whiskers kind of go every which way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I wasn't attuned to before, but I am now. So I did 2 passes. Favorite soap. Man, that's like my favorite kid, right? I just love them all. I've gravitated to some favorites. So one of my absolute favorites is Cella.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Marco, for that. That's just amazing stuff. And you do need to for the new guys. You need to lather. You make your lather Marco method. That's the way to do it. Otherwise, it'll be too thin and bubbly. And then I love Sterling soaps. Barbershop is probably my favorite. One that I really love, it's kind of underappreciated, I think, is the Port-au-Prince,
mm-hmm.
which is kind of it's a vetiver scent that's maybe kind of an acquired taste, but it's got this slickness to it that's just unreal. And then a couple other my favorites, Perazzo Red, amazing stuff, and then Spike. Mm-hmm. It's almost Spike Timber, so I want to try and get into that this year. My favorite razor, hands down, the Gillette Red Tip. It's an amazing razor. It was like it was made for my face. I don't know. I can't describe it any other way. It just as soon as I started shaving with it, it was like, man, this thing, you just know, right? I can't really explain it any other way.
Well, and the thing is, with razor systems and stuff like that, and you've been, to be a member as long as you have on Badger and Blade, and not have fallen into the straight razor hole or the soaps hole or the brush hole or any of the other minefields that are out there is good. But I may have to talk to you after this interview, and maybe send you a couple of straights. I mean, after all, what would Badger and Blade be if we didn't enable others, right?
Sure, I would graciously accept any tips. That's the other great thing about Badger and Blade. Let's talk. Anyway, other things. Brushes, right? I'm a bore brush guy. I love my bore brushes, and I love, in particular, I love Smoke brushes. Mm-hmm. They're inexpensive. They're made by this family that's been making brushes for 100 years. That all just resonates with me, and the brushes are beautiful, and they work awesome. So yeah, that's probably my other favorite thing about my kit.
Do you know that Sterling just came out with a bore brush too? Correct.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I get all of his email updates. I bought one of his what do you call them? I'm having a brain fart.
No, that's okay. It's one of the brushes that he has.
It's the synthetic.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
sure.
You can maybe rewind that part.
No, we're just sitting here having a cup of coffee. No, but the reason
I got one of his synthetic brushes.
Oh, okay.
And it's really good brush. I think I'm maybe not used to the synthetic because it doesn't hold water quite the same way that a bore brush does.
Sure.
But they're very reasonable, and they didn't really have those when I first started shaving, but I would definitely recommend that if, I know there's guys out there that don't like using animal products. for whatever reason, yeah, Sterling synthetics are awesome. I'll have to try his Bohr sometime. Yeah, because I do love the Bohr brushes.
Well, actually, there's been quite. I am more of a Badger and synthetic type. I mean, I've got the smoke brushes I do have. However, if you go over to the journals section, and you look for let's see, C Vargo, S Kim, Smatayu. If you take a look at those over there, they all purchased that Sterling Bohr, and they are actually saying that it's softer than any of the broken-in Simogs that they've had. So you may want to give that a shot as well.
Okay, all right.
So as we move forward, in the years that you've been doing this, what has surprised you most about this hobby? Not only shaving, but have you noticed that, by your statement that you made in the forum, that, what has surprised you most about the hobby and where it's taken you to, and how has it changed your daily routine?
Well, the big thing is, I guess the biggest thing that's surprised me when you first get into it, you're like it's like the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy lands in Oz and she walks out and everything's colorful and like wow. So I thought it's this whole world that you don't even know exists when you're just using the goo and the Gillette, right?
Right.
You're like, wow, there's all these traditional soaps that have been around for hundreds of years, and there's like 500 different kinds of blades, and it's like, wow, you never even knew all this existed. How did they? And you've got anyway. That was the big surprise for me, was learning about all these European soaps, and then of course the whole world of what's the word I'm looking for? Like Sterling and B&M and the
all the different manufacturers.
The artisans. So anyway, so that was the big thing, right? Just learning about this world that you didn't even know existed, and then you're finding that I can. So I have Marlboro up in my mug right now. This is the same soap that Prince Philip uses. How cool is that?
Exactly.
Right. I've got. German soaps and the Prazo from Italy, it's all these amazing things. So how it changed my daily routine, I think, because I got to shave every day, like
sure.
A lot of other guys do too. So I used to just shave in the shower, and you're always trying to eke out one more shave out of that cart, because they cost $45 or whatever a bin. So you're getting this crappy shave because you're I can make it one more week. And it was always a pain, and then I didn't want to shave on the weekend, and to now I actually look forward to shaving in the morning. I wake up and I'm like excited to go, and I don't keep tons of soaps, but I've got a good little selection, and I think, ooh, what am I going to shave with today?
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some aftershaves that I like, and so it just enhances it, right? It's like the difference between eating oatmeal or whatever, just something just to get something in your belly and actually having like a real meal,
right? And
looking forward to eating it. So that's the big. I think that's probably the biggest change. And then, like I said in the thread, that it was kind of a gateway for me for sort of the other finer things in life, and things that I didn't really realize I was missing out on. But once you kind of start down that road. Aftershave's a good example. I didn't really use any aftershave before, but now there's all these wonderful aftershaves, and they smell great. And my wife doesn't like all of them, but
sure,
I like. But anyway, and then that gets you and leads to, like I said, grooming.
Mm-hmm.
Getting better with my grooming, getting better with my dressing, and just kind of, I guess, these sort of gentlemanly skills that maybe used to be more common that aren't as common anymore, but gives you a good, it helps you present yourself better.
Well, you brought up a real good point, as far as, and that's one of the main reasons why this with what you said grabbed me so much, is the fact that, a lot of people think of Badger and Blade as as a traditional shaving site. What they don't realize is that there is literally an entire world inside our forum that, that exposes you to, whether you're a smoker or not, cigars and pipes, libations, coffee, teas, outdoor outdoor pursuits, like surfing, and firearms, for those people that enjoy firearms. So it's really I hate to say it's a traditional shaving site, which, that's the majority, but it's really a gentlemanly ways site as far as I'm concerned. And you mentioned something that really, when you said your wife didn't like the aftershaves, it made me think that, and you're probably like me, if you were, you had to go out somewhere, you were late for, going out on a date with some friends and stuff like that, and your wife was getting ready, and you'd sit there like most guys and stare at your watch going, come on, we got to go, we got to go, we got to go. But then once you get into the straight shaving and the morning time becomes your spa time, for lack of a better term, you really start understanding that was their Zen time. That was their way to get themselves better looking, feeling better about themselves, walking out. And whether we want to admit it or not, as the tough guys, we do care about what other people think for the most part, or we wouldn't go through the ritual that we go through. But it also gives us that confidence of saying, hey, my hair looks good, my face looks good, I smell good. And it puts a spring in your step. And I know that sounds like such a cliche, but I have found that it's the truth. Because before, with shaving with the cart, it's like, okay, I got to get through this. I got to look presentable. But there was nothing more than that. And since finding Badger and Blade and finding traditional shaving and the other gentlemanly things that we do, I think it's been a life enhancement. Would you agree with that statement?
I would, yeah, definitely.
And then also you said something about the Yellow Brick Road, and I couldn't help but doing this because I have to. But I can just see a new member joining Badger and Blade, and all of a sudden this little short guy, which could be me because I'm short, could come up and say, "Follow the Badger and Blade Road. Follow it all the way." And that's what happens. We follow it right into those little holes. So finally tonight, John, what would you say to a new or prospective member and to the rest of the Badger and Blade community?
I think for a new member, I think the most important thing is that you've got to find out what works for you. That, and I know it's kind of it's almost a joke now, right? Your mileage may vary, but there's a lot of people with a lot of advice, and it's all true. But you've got to basically, like, my face isn't the same as yours,
sure,
and it's not the same as anybody else's, and there really is. You really do got to figure out what works for you, and not I guess you can't just rely on what other people say.
Sure.
But I would say probably one of the mistakes I made, and I again, like the Dorothy and Oz thing, right? I was like, wow, all this amazing stuff, and I ran out and bought a bunch of razors and bought a bunch of blades and bought a bunch of everything to see what I liked, but it was probably too much too soon. I think that for somebody just getting into it, especially if you're, maybe not getting the results that you want, or you might be nicking yourself too much, or you're not getting you probably need to slow down and probably just stick to one, definitely one razor, but probably just one blade too. I think that there's some I think it's bad advice to buy the multi-pack.
Sure.
You sometimes hear that, buy the multi-pack and then try all the different blades. Yeah, do that later.
Right.
Pick a good one, a decent one. I would recommend the Astra SP. That's a good one for me, but maybe something a little bit milder. I don't know. But just pick one, right? Pick one, and then just use that same setup over and over for at least a month, so that you can work on that technique. So that and then you can then you'll know. Oh yeah, I'm not getting as close as I want. I probably need something a little sharper, or it's after using it a while, it's still too. It's a little harsh. I need something milder. You can then you have a basis to kind of adjust fire from.
Sure.
The other kind of mistake I made was this was kind of like relying on other people. This is more of a thing maybe a few years ago. I haven't seen it as much now, but there was some kind of an elitism surrounding Badger brushes versus Mohr brushes. And I kind of got sucked up into that, and then I got a cheap Badger brush, which was it turned out to be it was a pure Badger, which you don't know what the terms mean, right? When you're brand new, you just see Badger. Oh, that must be good. Well, not so much. I would say pure Badger to me is something of an acquired taste. I know that people like it, but I wouldn't run out and buy. I wouldn't recommend a new guy buy a pure Badger brush just because it's relatively cheap and because it's Badger. So I say either spring for best Badger. or look at the boar brushes, because you can get a really good boar brush from Omega or Samog or other places. You mentioned Sterling has one now for pretty cheap, and that'll get you going. And then and then if you can buy the expensive Badger brushes later, or if you decide you like pure Badger. But I'm just saying that was one thing I kind of tripped up on that I wouldn't do again, because I did kind of end up with a crappy brush.
Well, you brought up a real good point about that I think what happens and when there's new members is those of us that have been around a while and those of us that have been traditional shaving for much longer than that. We're excited about it, and I think, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. We are excited to share what we have, and it's not, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you're bragging about what you have." No, that's not the point. We want everybody to enjoy the shaves as much as we are enjoying them, and so we have a tendency to tell a new member, "Go out and do this."
Right.
And what happens is they become so overwhelmed. And what I've learned is that what you're saying is dead on. Find one razor, one blade, maybe a couple of soaps, one or two brushes, and concentrate on technique, getting the shaves the way you want first. Then if you want to go out and go crazy and listen to us people that have had to actually put on room additions to their house to store their collections, then you can go that route. But what you said was dead on. Concentrate on the basics first, because you are relearning a habit, basically, because those of us that shaved with carts and everything else, you get used to that. And how I knew that it was that much different is on our next episode, we're going to be having a shave roundtable where 5 of us actually went through all the razor systems, single edge, double edge, all of them,
cool.
And cartridges. We actually included cartridges. And what was amazing is how different the entire shave experience is by going through all those different ones. So we'll see that on the next show. But what you said was very true. If somebody, and it's funny that I'm saying this, being the guy that started the Central Enablement Center, it's my job to enable everybody. But, people need to know that we do it in fun. If you're the type of guy that wants to be a minimalist, meaning one razor, one blade, one brush, one soap, hey, more power to you, as long as you're enjoying it, because there will always be people that think that it's just shaving. Then there's the hobbyists, the ones that say, hey, I want to have a nice collection of this, this, and this. And then there's the crazy people like me that, are constantly looking for something new and exciting, which is okay too. So all those belong here. So, hopefully the new members understand that people aren't trying to push you into things. They just want to share their experiences, and you've got to take that. And the one thing I would say, and I'm sure, John, you agree, that don't be afraid to ask questions.
Sure.
And what else would you like to finish with, John?
Well, I just want to say I love the community. Just to everybody else, stay awesome. It's one of the few forums that I visit that there's no trolls, there's no cussing. Just everybody's a gentleman. I love that, and I love that we have. We've got the old timers that have had the same fat boy since 1959, and they've been doing this forever. And we've got the new, hipster kids that want to save the planet, and that's their thing. And we've got everybody in between, including the guys like me that learned about this sort of late in life. And,
right.
But I just love it. I love the community, and stay awesome.
Well, John, we certainly appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday when we do record this to share us your thoughts. And like I said, your statements that you said in that forum were just absolutely dead on for members. And I think you also touched on something that sometimes some of us older members forget, is that the cool thing about this whole resurgence of traditional shaving is there's guys in their late teens and 20s starting to get into this. That's awesome, because for years and years and years, you would think of Badger and Blade and you would say, okay, it's a bunch of 40 plus guys trying to relive, the 1800s by shaving with straights or DEs, but that's not the fact anymore. This, I think, we're really falling into a golden age of traditional shaving, and I hope it keeps up.
Yeah, me too. We used to worry about the shave apocalypse, but I think hopefully that's less likely now. Yeah,
I don't think it will. Well, once again, John, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining B&B Radio. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll see you on the boards.
It was my pleasure. Thanks. Yeah, see you on the boards.
Thanks again. You Above the Tie Razors and More fans, be on the lookout for a brand new expected release of a brand new DE razor known as the Windsor. Please make sure you check out the AT&T vendor store here at badgerandblade.com. That Windsor razor will be coming in a polished 303 stainless steel or a very unique polished beryllium copper. And now this. Above the Tie Grooming and More, an internet retailer based in Tennessee, brings you a unique offering in the traditional shaving world. Stainless steel and aluminum artisan-made razors that will last a lifetime, proudly manufactured right here in the USA. Bulletproof construction and almost perfect engineering tolerances ensure any razor you purchase from Above the Tie Grooming and More will provide the right shave and the best shave each and every day. The Atlas, Chronos, Colossus, and Bamboo are the backbone of a line of razors that offer limitless variety of customization. Single edge, gem style, double edge safety bar, and open comb all can be ordered, offering a truly customizable experience, including the ability to order just the shave heads, bases, and handles of your choice. Can't decide? Then take advantage of one of the 7-piece and 5-piece complete razor systems to take the level of customization even further to suit your specific needs. Like the lightweight of aluminum? Then try the Calypso or the Bamboo, offering colored, anodized parts to suit your tastes. Again, all Above the Tie Grooming and More razors are made right here by dedicated artisans in the USA, from either 303 solid stainless steel or aircraft grade 7075 aluminum to ensure the utmost in quality. Need more? Above the Tie Grooming offers a complete line of Mohr razors for the budget conscious, as well as shaving accessories from various manufacturers and artisans, including blades, soaps, aftershaves, travel cases, and more. So, for that one-of-a-kind razor system, including an unmatched customer service razor guarantee, your razor from Above the Tie Grooming and More is sure to become a family heirloom. And for all of your shaving needs, visit Above the Tie Grooming and More at www.abovethetie.com. Please remember, we're offering free shipping on all orders over $75. That's www.abovethetie.com. Well, are we having fun yet? Well, we certainly hope you are. And once again, we'd like to thank you for listening to Badger and Blade Radio here at www.badgerandblade.com. We're going to go ahead and open up our mailbag, and we certainly want to thank everybody that takes part in this segment each and every airing. It is important to us that you get involved because this is your segment and this is your show, and we like to talk about things that are poignant and important to you. We did run a poll this past week, tallow-based soaps versus vegan soaps. Now, for those of you that are new to shave soaps, a tallow-based soap is usually rendered via animal fat, whether that be bovine, whether that be pig fat, duck fat, some type of animal fat, whereas a vegan soap is more plant-based or oil-based. That's a quick result. There's more stuff to that, but that'll give you a basic idea. Now, the poll that we had up asked whether you like to use tallow soaps or vegan soaps. Now, interestingly, 81.8% of those responding indicated that they use both and enjoy them equally, where 18.2% were staunch tallow users. Members also commented, if you'd asked me 8 months ago, just after starting this hobby, I would have told you that tallow is all the way to go, due to the false belief that it makes soap better. However, I've found that there are some absolutely wonderful vegan soaps, and that every bit are as good as their tallow counterparts. Martin DeCandre, Saponificio Veracino, to name a couple. With that being said, the vast majority of soaps that I enjoy are mostly tallow-based soaps, end up being more than the individual components that they are made from. And it's down to the process of the total ingredient list and percentages of each ingredient. Kind of like the team sport with the team that clicks. A good soap is more than the sum of its parts. And from Rock Viper, I'm in the good soap is good soap camp and have no preference for tallow versus non-tallow. Tabac is wunderbar and Carg Clabinet is classy. From Craig, Clyde 72, when I started out, I didn't know the difference. I, like a lot of others, started with creams, like Parasso and Taylor of Old Bond Street. Is there a tallow cream? My first soap was actually Modern Williams Mug Shaving Soap, which is tallow. I was actually able to get good lather from it after a couple of attempts, following the suggestions that I had read on B&B. My second soap was Parasso Reb, which is vegan. I also got just as good a performance from it as I did the Williams. My current soap inventory Has both tallow and vegan soaps, and I use them interchangeably. In my honest opinion, there are some great soaps out there. Some happen to be tallow, some happen to be vegan. So don't let that be the deciding factor for you. And from Chad C. Vargo, our Shave Soap Forum steward, when I first started, it was tallow all the way. But now with the better soaps being made, I think it's clearly up to the formula being used. I have excellent non-tallow soaps and excellent tallow soaps. But if I had to pick one, I would lean towards tallow. I have no real reason why. Well, thank you, Chad. And from Sean, I voted tallow because most of the time vegan soaps don't work well with my skin. I've found about 3 that I can use and perform well for me so far. But as a whole, they are just very dry and not in the least bit protective with my skin. And some are really actually fairly irritating. I'm not against trying any more. I'm occasionally surprised, but mainly I just stick to tallow. And finally, from Charles, Dave, 2 things. What are Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus doing this time of year? And how do they know about the sumo? And how do they know about the sumo memorial auction? And how badly did Santa get burned in the Bahamas last January? Well, first of all, Charles, thank you for that. And Mr. and Mrs. Claus are fine. Mrs. Claus finally got over her rum hangover, and no burning was done. And for those of you that are wondering what we're talking about, if you listen back to our Christmas issue of Badger and Blade Radio, that'll tell you everything you need. And number 2, given the explosion of choices we now have in shaving equipment, both new and old, do you think that we are in a golden age for people interested in traditional shaving? The opportunities in razors, blades, soaps, and brushes seem remarkable in their variety. Made more remarkable by the extensive selection of older razors at an excellent price. Has there ever been a better time for this? Well, Charles, that's a very interesting question, and thank you for asking that. And before we go any further in answering that question, we want to thank everybody that partook in the mail call segment. And it's really I hate to say it, your mileage may vary. You know, some people love vegan soaps, some people love tallow soaps, some of us just like them because they're soaps. And so depending on how your skin works, because some people have tallow, they can have allergies to tallow or lanolin, such as Mitchell's wool fat. So find the soap that you like the best and use the heck out of it. Now, to answer Charles' question, do I think we're in a golden age? Absolutely. With the number of artisans and the number of manufacturers that are ramping up manufacturing of soaps and brushes and so forth, I think we really are in a golden age. A few years back, we all talked about the shave-pocalypse, where everything was just going to stop, that artisans were going to go by the wayside, manufacturers were going to say we're not selling stuff, so we're going to go by the wayside. I don't see that happening. I think, if anything, you're going to see it getting bigger and better, because when a company like Gillette will actually be purchased by a bigger company called Procter & Gamble, and then they start watching everything, and now they bought the art of shaving, what that tells me is they don't want to get out of the traditional shaving realm, and they're seeing that more and more people are getting into it. Because for a time, there was a thought process that, okay, the traditional shaving was for the 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, trying to relive the heyday of when our parents and our grandparents used to shave. But what we're seeing, and Badger and Blade and the membership is a big part of that, is that we've got late teens, 20s, 30s, all the way up as far as you want to go, getting back into the traditional shaving for 2 reasons. One, it gives gentlemen and ladies a chance to spend that spa time together with themselves and just say, hey, I'm going to take the time out and nourish my skin, take care of my skin and the way it appears. The razor products that are coming out will last a lifetime, and there's more and more coming each and every day, more and more shave companies, more and more shave soap companies. I do think it's a heyday, but I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. And I'll take a chance here, but I'll say in 10 to 15 years, this may be mainstream, and the guys that are doing the non-traditional shaving systems are going to be the not. So, Charles, thank you so much. And once again, thanks to everybody for being part of the mail call segment. We're going to close up the mail call bag, and we'll be back right after this.
Pee-wee Reese has a way with Dodger rookies or Sandlot youngsters. Pee-wee, you do a lot of work with boys.
Not work, Al. I like baseball and kids. I enjoy helping teenagers start right.
Oh, that's around shaving age, and you give them pointers on personal appearance, too?
Yes, a boy has more self-respect when he's clean-shaved. I tell him to use a Gillette razor, Al.
You said it, the Gillette Super Speed Razor. And today there are 3. Light for sensitive skin and most younger men. Regular for average skin and beard. Heavy for men who like the heft and feel of a heavier razor. Each is different, precisely engineered. One has the right blade edge exposure, edge angle, and weight to shave you in a breeze. Comfortable, good-looking shaves you may never have had before. And convenient, you change blades and rinse clean so. Choose your Gillette Super Speed Razor. $1.29 with Gillette Blue Blade dispenser and handy travel case.
And finally, tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about the Mohr Memorial Auction that will be coming up October 19th. As of this recording, we probably have between 8 and 20 lots so far. And remember, everything is fair game. It does not have to be shaving related, and please make sure you check out the donation thread in the general shaving forum to get involved. Now, we do want to thank everybody who's donated so far, and we're shooting for over 200 lots this year. And like I said, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be wet shaving, so please stay tuned. We're going to show you a couple of pictures, and we're going to show you a little teaser of what was in the auction last year. We'll be right back. This just into the B&B Radio newsroom. Sign-ups are going to be taking place for the blind paper review that will be happening in the NIB forum sometime in the next couple of weeks. This review will consist of roughly a dozen different samples of paper sent out to members drawn from that sign-up list. The members are then expected to test and evaluate each paper sample and report their findings and thoughts back to the thread. The brand of paper will be disclosed at the end of the review, so be on the lookout in the NIB forum for sign-ups in the next week or two. One final reminder as we close out B&B Radio for August 7th, 2017, the Shave Roundtable show will be airing on either August 21st or September 4th. We're putting the final touches on that as well as working on some logistics. But to give you a hint, each one of the Shave Roundtable members did shave with a straight razor, a double-edge razor, a single-edge razor, a single-edge hybrid with uses the feather system or the Kai system such as the RX or the General, a feather type system blade or a shavette, whichever way you want to call them, and a cartridge. So we'll have all those results on either one of those dates. Once we work that out, we'll keep everybody apprised of that. Well, as we close out the show, we'd like to thank the moderators and the stewards for all the hard work they do each and every day. We'd also like to thank the admins and the owners for bringing us BadgerandBlade.com. And as always, we want to thank you, the member. You are the lifeblood of BadgerandBlade.com. And together, we are Badger and Blade. I've been your host, David Skyside, and we'll see you on the next episode of Badger and Blade Radio.